G'day and welcome to Heavy Duty TV. I'm Neil Brumby, publisher of Heavy Duty, and if you've ever read one of these, then you'll know what we're all about. We thought it was about time we put some names to the ugly faces on the staff. And this is Doc Robinson, our technical editor and the heart and soul of the magazine. Docco?
G'day. Well, we've got a lot more than ugly faces. We've got some sensational motorcycles, the best customs in Australia, big, fast, loud, you're going to love them.
Thanks, Doc. So, stick around for the first episode of Heavy Duty TV. This is what's coming up.
You'll get an up-close and personal look at one of the oldest going Harleys in Australia. We get to cover a couple of birthdays, the 110th for Harley Davidson and the very first for the new Harley Davidson store in Ringwood.
We also get to test drive the new Street Bob Limited, and Doc's going to give you some tech talk tips in person. Plus, we're going to show you our very first workshop of the week, and we'll also let you know what events are happening around Australia. We'll show you some real mild to wilds and meet their owners, show you some latest products.
We meet custom bike builders, the McCulley brothers, as they start renovating a 2006 Dyna Lowrider.
This bike is on the cover of our latest magazine, and you'll get to see how it got there. I hope you enjoy Heavy Duty TV. Right, time to talk about Harley Davidson's 110th anniversary. Docco, you were there. What did you think?
It was an awesome 3 days, really awesome. It was great to be part of Harley's 110th worldwide celebrations, and we had a ball.
Yeah, we did, actually. I thought it was great. Your top three?
For me, it was the museum display, the way that Paul Bailey from Harley Davidson had pulled in those bikes from all over. Wonderful antique bikes. Second would be the Thunder Run, and third, Jimmy Barnes.
Barnesy, he's still got it, hasn't he?
He sure has.
He packed them in that night.
Awesome.
They were all shuffling and swaying around. The other thing for me that I loved, David Reedy's 1914 V-Twin. Is that the oldest V-Twin Harley in Australia?
Yeah, I understand that it is, the oldest running one.
It was running beautifully at the Thunder Run. All right, for all of you that weren't there, we're about to show you all the highlights of Harley's anniversary at Williamstown and David Reedy's 1914 V-Twin.
110th anniversary.
Nothing like a Harley, man. 110 years of fun.
Great Ocean Road tomorrow. Probably get back to Brisbane by maybe next weekend if we hurry, but we probably won't hurry. I'm lucky enough to have the best bike, which is a Softail Custom. It's just a step above the V-Rods.
That's only if you want to come down slow.
Rode down 2 days, been down here for the whole weekend. Yeah, part of having a Harley is the people you meet, man. Good people.
The lady amongst us four, only the one lady amongst us, her motorcycle won the People's Choice Award yesterday.
2013 Deluxe Softail, red and white, she's gorgeous.
My name's Paul Bailey, I'm from Harley Davidson Australia. I'm the curator for our museum for the 110th anniversary celebrations. And we've got with us today one of the oldest bikes known to exist in Australia. It's a 1914 twin, and it was used in our Thunder Run today. And it's owned by David Reedy from Harley City in Brunswick, and it's one of his collection, and a very, very rare and nice motorcycle.
This is a 1914 Harley Davidson, obviously V-Twin. Harley were just starting to really develop the V-Twin. Initially they were all single-cylinder bikes. Built their first V-Twin in 1909. And this one's a 1914, easily the most refined bike they've built to this stage. Your lighting system was all run by acetylene, so you had a gas tank basically. Think of an LPG tank stuck on your handlebars with a hose on it, and you lit a flame in here basically, and that was your lighting. And what was unique for 1914 was you went to an elementary form of transmission, 2-speed. And the 2-speed was in the rear hub, a bit like a push bike. So in the rear hub here, we've got a rear brake, which is your only brake. You've got 2-speed transmission in your hub, and you've got the clutch. Clutch is operated either by this lever or by the pedal here. Riding it's a bit of a challenge because the engine doesn't produce lots of horsepower, and with a 2-speed transmission you've got a very tall first gear and quite a tall top gear. It's really interesting actually because when you're sitting at a traffic lights, the rear chain is going around all the time. As we found on the 110th anniversary Thunder Ride, the police escort was just a little bit slow for us, so we had to overtake them and set a more steady pace. The starting, they call them a step starter, so unlike a Kickstarter, which was to follow 2 years later and where you gave it a traditional thump, these you have to clump, clump, clump with the pedals. Once it's going, that's the end of the pedal operation on a motorcycle. You don't pedal it to make it go. But if you do push back on the pedals, just like your early push bike, that does also operate the rear brake. We've got a conventional brake pedal on this other side here, and we can also stomp back on there. So once you're going, once you're doing 15 miles an hour, things are pretty neat, as long as you don't want to stop. This particular bike we don't know lots about. We bought it for our collection a couple of years ago. We knew that the previous owner, who owned it since 2001, had done some mechanical work on it and that it was a running motorcycle. And they pulled it in 2001 out of an attic in Montana. So it had been, sitting up there for probably about 70 years. The technology on these motorcycles, like on the carburetor, is totally different. We're used to playing around with late 20s motorcycles, 1930s motorcycles. But going back into the teens, things were different, especially this early. Probably in both motorcycles and cars, the peak probably of value is that early Art Deco period, late 20s, early 30s. But look, if you've got a good running twin that's a 1914 model, you'd be starting to think about 6 figures to buy one today. Harley say that it takes more engineering and more research and development to maintain that air-cooled stuff than if they went to liquid-cooled. I think we're very lucky that they put that time in development into air-cooled engines. Or even all the aftermarket engines are all based on Harley's design. It's Harley that's doing all the hardcore R&D. No other manufacturer is going close with a large capacity air-cooled twin to produce something of the cubic capacity up to 110 cubic inches, 1800 cc. And their performance, we used to try and build engines like that in the 80s, and we thought 93 cubic inches was the limit. And it was, with the oils and the cooling that a cast iron cylinder gave you then, that was the limit. But Harley just pushed that and pushed that and pushed that with more and more oil technology, cooling technology, piston quality. We just take it for granted today. Great Race is 21 years old, and it's a reliability trial for pre-1958 Harley-Davidsons and Indians. And over 21 years we've had some terrific events, put a whole lot of bikes on the road that previously weren't being ridden. They were hidden away in collections. And this event, really, you've got to ride 700 or 800 kilometres for the weekend minimum. A lot of people might ride their bike from Sydney or Melbourne into the snowy mountains. It really gets the bikes out there and gets them used, which is really what they deserve. The number of motorcycle companies that have had 110 years of continuous production history, I think, is only one, and that is Harley-Davidson. So as every year goes by and as they reach greater heights with their models and their model styling, I think they've had some high water marks this year with the new Breakout. But, being a dealer of Harley-Davidson, I feel pretty privileged to be able to be associated with a product that's kept on going for 110 years. And I think it's just it's pretty special.
How good is that bike of David Reedy's, 1914? The best and oldest Harley in the country. Right, from one birthday to another. Harley Heaven in Ringwood recently opened a brand new store after 32 years in their old location, and we went along to take a look. Here to tell us all about it is Frank Bianco from Harley Heaven. Frank,
G'day,
it's
Brad.
a beautiful store, mate.
It sure is. It's something we've needed for a long time. The Harley Davidson business and clientele's grown tenfold in recent years, and we just do really need a super store, and we've certainly got that now.
It's huge.
It is.
It is huge. I've never seen a workshop that big.
State-of-the-art workshop. I think there's about 12 benches just for Harleys.
Yeah.
Really highly trained technicians, as you'd know, Doc. And a great car park for setting up the hoggy rides and test rides and for laying a bit of rubber.
I tell you what, there's plenty of room for good burnouts down the back there, and it's nice and clean.
Well, you'll have to come down, Brum, and set up the very first track of rubber for us.
Now, the opening celebration was a pretty good night, I have to say, with
Yes.
your good self and the boys putting a bit of music on.
Well, we had a bit of fun with the band, and it's quite unusual when your peers and your workmates see you playing in the band and they can't believe you do that as well. No, it was a lot of fun. Hundreds of people came through the door.
Yeah, I heard officially over 500 on a wet Thursday night in Melbourne. That's pretty good.
And lots of bikes turned up too, which usually the rain comes and we don't have too many riders. But it's lots of people rode, lots of people drove, had a great time.
Yeah, it was. It was a great night. Sorry you didn't make it, Doco, but bad luck to you.
Shit happens. How many bikes do you have on display there, Frank?
There'd be 40 motorcycles, I'd say, including the workshop. You can view the workshop area through an excellent viewing area.
Oh, awesome.
So you can see your bike being worked on. Nice lounge area where you can sit and have a coffee, read the paper while your bike's getting prepared for you. And it's a nice relaxed atmosphere that you don't feel like I better get out of here. It's a place where you can sit down and enjoy it, become part of the place.
Yeah, it was good, and lots of accessories upstairs. Like, there was a really good range when I went out there.
For sure, and as you know, the bike's the easy bit, and it's what you do to it is what we all love, customising. So yeah, there's certainly quite an array of accessories and bling.
Yeah, do you reckon we should get Doc out for a new headband or?
Well, he's been running that one for a while.
Yes.
So Frank, with the huge range of Harleys that you have out there, what's hot at the moment? Is it the new Breakout or something else?
Well, the Breakout's really hot, but you have to be quick if you'd like one of those. We've noticed a huge resurgence in the Sportster market. I think the 48, the 883, the Iron has allowed a better entry level for people. I mean, you don't have to spend $30,000 to get a great Harley, and people are coming into the market and getting these bikes and realising that they're pretty cool too. And that sort of retro style in the 48 and the 883 Nightstar is really finding its place in the market. So it's not all about soft tails anymore. The Breakout's a great model too, but I guess that's a next step for a lot of people. They made a CVO this year, but only 30% of the CVOs were produced this year across the board, given the financial downturn in the States.
Right.
So they've elected to bring out a standard version. It's a fraction of the price of the CVO, but if you spend 10, 12 grand on that, you're going to have your own custom that's pretty close to a CVO.
Yeah, Brum and I both rode the, I've ridden both the CVO and the standard, but beautiful bikes.
Yes, fantastic. And the wide back end is very popular these days, the 240mm tyre in a soft tail. The rocker wasn't quite what they'd imagined, and this is what the rocker should have been.
It's morphed into, yeah.
Absolutely.
But it's a better ride than a rocker. It's much better to ride. It turns better, it's just a sharper thing all around.
Nicer rake, the thing looks good just parked.
Yeah, agree.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, there you have it, folks. For those of you that haven't been out to Harley Heaven Ringwood, we suggest strongly that you get on out there as soon as possible. You'll be surprised. It is a great store.
You're watching Heavy Duty TV.